Tamara, Johnson Chapel. First memory of Johnson Chapel?
It was probably convocation.
Yeah?
Although, if I'm being perfectly honest, don't think I'm going to be able to tell you what President Pouncey said that day.
Nobody remembers what the president says at convocation. How about other memories, strong memories?
Well, the other super strong memory is that the last time I walked down this aisle, I was actually holding my dad's arm, and I was walking up to get married to my husband, an alumnus, a class of 94.
That's terrific. So you got married here in front of all these portraits.
In front of all these portraits, although there are a few new ones.
Yeah.
Definitely new ones. And then obviously we have Biddy.
This is easily my favorite piece of art in the chapel. Should we get seated?
Yes.
Hi everyone, Michael Elliott here in Johnson Chapel for a very special edition of Between Two Mammoths. I'm here today with Chantal Cordula from the class of 1994. Chantal was elected this summer to become the new chair of the Board of Trustees. Chantal, congratulations and welcome to Between Two Mammoths.
Thank you, Michael. It's great to be here.
To start, I could take you back to the fall of 1990 when you were here as an undergraduate for the first time.
I remember driving into the quad with a packed station wagon, and I vividly remember walking into Stearns 308, two-room triple, and thinking, wow, this is going to be really cozy.
What are the biggest changes that you've seen in Amherst since the time you were a student and now?
We've expanded the campus, modernized, developed certain areas of it, but still keeping with the tradition of the small New England college, which makes this place magical. The other thing I would say is different is the student body. When we do graduation and the students line up, you actually see the diversity of the student body. There's a enthusiasm, energy, vigor that's really exciting and kind of palpable when you walk around here. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can.
As you think about developing priorities, what do you see as kind of the priorities for Amherst College as president?
One is around how do we create a sense of community and belonging among all of our students. Our students really do come from all over the country, all over the world. They bring a lot of very different experiences. In order to make that happen, we have to have great staff and great faculty. And so another one of my priorities is to make sure this is a great place for them to work. Third thing is to remember why we're doing all of this. We do it so they can have an impact in the world and contribute to the greater good. How do we prepare students to be engaged participants in democracy, whether that's here in this country or elsewhere around the world when they may leave? How do we help them engage in difficult conversations about the world? We've been working in our Career Center to create opportunities for students to work in careers that support social impact, support democracy in their lives after Amherst. We've been working on new courses that facilitate a sense of connection to community and contribute to the greater good. And as we approach the election, we'll be talking about what responsible participation looks like and giving our students opportunities to do that.
You know, with people feeling very deep emotional connections to what's happening in the Middle East, how do we think about the campus climate and making sure that we're supporting all of our constituencies of our community in this moment, really?
First, we're a place of education. So that means we're here to help our students learn how to think, not necessarily to tell them what to believe. That in order to do that, we give a wide berth to free expression. That's essential to Amherst and it's part of our DNA. But in order to make sure that everybody can thrive here, we do place limits on that expression. We don't count it as hate speech. We do need to respond when people go over the line, when people try to interrupt our core educational mission. We need to remember those principles and keep acting on them going forward. As we look forward to the next year, we need to be ready to lean into the difficulty of this. There are very few places in American life that embrace, prepare people, and offer them an opportunity to engage in such difficult, personally held opinions about such challenging matters. Campuses are noisy at times, and they're sometimes full of disagreement, debate, even protest. But that's actually one of the things that campuses should be doing, is to be making space for that kind of dialogue and discourse. I see different experiments going forward on campus that are really designed toward cultivating that clash of ideas.
Seems like it was just yesterday, but it was last summer. The Supreme Court came down with a decision that no longer allows colleges and universities to take race, ethnicity into account in their decision making. as part of a holistic assessment of a candidate. How can we think about continuing to have that diversity of background, of thinking?
We're restricted, obviously, by the Supreme Court decision in terms of the ways that we can think about race in the admissions process, and we are obviously going to comply and are complying with that decision. But there are other things that we can be doing and will be doing to, first of all, make sure that all the students we've recruited here can thrive. That's really essential for us. And then also to make sure that we're reaching all of the students nationally and internationally who could take advantage of an Amherst education and to get them to apply. So we're going to be working on expanding our recruitment strategies. That's going to help introduce Amherst to another strata of students that may not have had it on its radar previously. And then we have to work hard to make sure we yield the students that we admit. So it's a place where we're going to have to put more resources, and we're going to have to keep working on year after year. I really think of this as a multi-year process. Everything in admissions is a long-term investment. You're building relationships that hopefully will introduce Amherst to schools that have never heard of it before, families that have never heard of it before, and get it on the radar of those families as early as possible. Let me close out by asking you, turn the tables a final time, maybe one lesson or something that you had insight to in Amherst that you carried with you out into the world after you graduated.
You may not always have all the right answers, but you know how to think, you know how to express yourself, and you know how to write persuasively. And that allows you to have a certain amount of comfort with ambiguity, to know that you can roll up your sleeves and figure out solutions to problems that are put in front of you. And I think that that's a really powerful tool that every single Amherst graduate has. So if there's one thing I took, I guess it's that.
Chantal, thank you for joining us on Between Two Mammoths.